Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this June 24th version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon. I'm glad that you're here with us today. If you want to know where our content is, if you go to EOA.network, that takes you to a link tree where you can find the locations of our Facebook, our Roku channel, our website, and also where all of this information ends up on podcasts. We're glad that you're here with us. So, hey, kind of a special show this morning. I'm here in the studio by myself, but Kyle is down at Pioneer Park at the District Little League Tournament, which happens to be in La Grande this year. And so he'll be with us here in just a little bit. In fact, well, hey, let's just kick it off. So let's have Kyle do the sports from down at the park.
Yeah, I'm here. AM Sports Report brought to you by Hobby Habit in La Grande. Go down and check out their Traxxas RC car selection. They got everything you could imagine for racing remote control cars. It's a crazy selection. Traxxas makes the top of the line RC cars in the country. 411 First Street in La Grande, Hobby Habit, just for the fun of it. Down here at Pioneer Park, it is absolutely gorgeous. The District 3 All-Star Tournament started officially Sunday night, and with one game, and then yesterday they had a full slate of games. We're moving into day two. It's been just a lot of fun. I'm down here taking pictures, doing some volunteering, and just being around sports. That's kind of what I do. I don't even know what his title is. I know he's on the board, maybe vice president. I don't know. He can tell us here in a second. Shane Frederick from the Little League board is going to join me right now, and we're going to talk a little bit about this tournament. There he is.
All right.
Shane, how are you?
Good, real good.
What's new? What is your title, anyways?
Basically the player agent for the La Grande Little League board, and kind of one of the tournament directors down here for the week.
Yeah. Well, so what's going on? Tell us about what
currently we got 5 games going on 5 different fields. Tomorrow we'll have 6 going at once. So, yeah, it's all the way from 8, 9, and 10-year-olds all the way up to 13 and 14-year-olds currently.
So boys and girls, softball, baseball, and if you win this tournament, what does that mean? What happens next?
If you win, you advance to the state tournament, and the state tournaments are all over the state. Each division goes to a certain site, so which is kind of why we want to put on a good tournament, because you can get rewarded for a state tournament if they feel that you did a great job at the district tournament. So that's always our goal when we host one of these.
Oh, you can, even if you don't. Oh, so you host this, you put on a good show, and you have a chance at hosting the state.
Yes, yep. They keep it in mind, put you on a list. They think, hey, La Grande was a massive good tournament, so they'll,
Why would you want to host the state tournament as a Little League?
Just to, for the glory of those kids, to see that they're moving on to the regional level to represent the state of Oregon, not just their city. So you get to see that, witness it yourself. So it's kind of a cool little event. We did that in 2016 when our La Grande boys won the state tournament here in La Grande and got to move on to San Bernardino. And I think that's the goal for all these kids, is that, find a way to get to that San Bernardino level and see what will happen.
Well, and hosting a state tournament raises quite a bit of money for your Little League, right?
Yep. You get not teams just from Eastern Oregon, then you get to expand throughout Oregon, and you get teams from Klamath Falls that all over Portland area, Bend, they all come here, and it's the best of the best at that level for
the best in the whole state.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about what goes into putting on a tournament like this.
It starts months in advance. It's we've got many volunteers that have to do certain things, and it's rewarding at the end, but it's a headache along the way. But it's, just to get out here and see all the kids, and it's, that's what it's all about, just to see the smiles on their faces.
Yeah.
That's
sure. So it's all volunteer.
It's all 100%. Volunteer. Even the umpires, the field crews, everybody. There's no pay for anybody. That's what's Little League is, basically free.
Yeah, well,
free labor.
Well, but then when you get everything donated and it's all volunteer based, any income that's generated goes right back to the kids
right
in
back.
Little League.
Yep, right back to the program, and you know, like the Optimus clubs here, they a lot of their money they support the youth and give scholarships.
$24,000 last year to be
Yeah,
exact.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Optimus.
That's crazy.
In Union County.
Yep.
What about volunteers or sponsor wise? Is there anybody that sticks out? Somebody you want to give some props to, or a list of people?
I don't think I would single anybody out because I'd be afraid I would forget somebody.
Yeah.
There's so many sponsors that help us out with this, whether it's, just a parent alone or a business that, without them, it makes it very difficult. But with them, it sure makes it easy.
Let's talk about that parent relationship a little bit real fast. One of the things I always talk about on my sports shows, especially, I cover LeGrand High School really close. And I always talk about the parents having to be bought in. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because that's what develops a state championship team down the road. And what's your thoughts about that?
Well, when it comes to for those kids trying out for All Stars, when they're selected as an All Star, I think the parent is selected as an All Star because they're doing just as much as the kid, if not more. Whether it's laundry or getting them to and from practice, to the games, traveling, whatever it is. So I look at it as the parents, the All Star, just as much as the kid.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, it takes the whole village
Yeah.
to get a kid into that position.
Yep.
How many years you been doing this?
Well, I started coaching youth baseball in '95.
So right after you graduated,
Basically
high school,
after,
almost,
yeah,
a couple of years.
yeah. So I've been around, and I love to see the kids develop from a small age all the way up into high school,
College,
moving on.
Yeah, you got a kid
Yep.
in college.
got
One
a
more
kid,
year left.
got a kid at the Mounties. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool. Just to, like I say, to watch those kids grow up, and it's just fascinating.
So let's end it with this. At the end, you guys get together and do a post tournament, like meeting.
Yep.
What do you want to hear in that meeting? What do you want? What do you want this to be?
Well, you always want to hear everything positive, but I want to hear the negative too to see what we can do better for the years. And you only get a host this about every 7 to 10 years,
Right.
because it goes to all these other Eastern Oregon towns, and if they want it, they'll take it. If not, it moves on to the next one. But from a positive thing, I just to know that every kid out here had the time of his life, because these are the games. I remember the games when I was 11 and 12 where I played, and I want those kids to remember that too, and just think, man, 2025, that was so much fun in the Grand, and hopefully that's the goal out of all this.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, I appreciate it, Shane.
Hey, Kyle.
You have a good
Yep.
day today. Don't
Awesome.
work too hard.
I won't.
All right, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, so that was Shane Frederick. He's on the Little League board here in LeGrand, and like you said, he's been volunteering for 30 years with youth sports. That's a career. You know what I mean? It's super cool. Man, I've known Shane since we were about 14 years old. I played baseball with him, and he's just a good asset to this community. That's the AM Sports Report, brought to you by Hobby Habit in LeGrand, just for the fun of it.
Hey, Kyle. So, real quick, go back to the two-shot Benny. So, so how much longer does this go on? Tell us about the rest of the.
This goes on all the way through the weekend, so it'll go all the way through Sunday. This coming up Sunday.
Okay.
It started on Sunday and goes through Sunday.
Wow. Okay. And
Yeah, it's a lot of games, a lot of teams. There's a lot of people. This place it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and this place is already packed. I mean,
Yeah.
there's, like you said, there's 5 games going on at 8 a.m. Wow. And if you're going to come down here, you might have to park a little ways away, but it's well worth it. They got, I don't know all the places. I know that there's like a shaved ice place out there. I know Jimmy B's is here. I know Optimus has got they have double concessions going. They have one out by Doug Trice Memorial, their mobile unit, and then they have their normal snack bar going on in here. And then they also have a whole bunch of gear too. They out in the pavilion, they have a lady out there selling all the shirts and hats and everything you can imagine. And all that money just cycles back into Little League here in LeGrand. And the umpires, they had a little bit of a controversy yesterday. There was a kid that went over pitch count, and they've handled everything with grace and dignity. And it could have been a situation where a lot of people were really upset. And I feel like the umpires did a really good job. They ended up pausing the game, bringing the kids off the field, calling the head umpire, and then they end up making a couple phone calls to the district office and then the regional office, and they end up making a decision, and they just reverted back to where the kid had hit the pitch count limit, and then suspended the coach because that's in the rule book, and the outcome ended up being about similar to what it would have been if the kid wouldn't have went over the pitch count. And I think most of the parents were pretty happy with it. So they did a great job with that.
Cool. All righty. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, man. Thanks for doing this. We're gonna
Yeah,
do,
it's been a great. It's already so nice out here. Really, it really is.
well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, and we're gonna, now that we've figured out this technology, we're gonna be doing more of this remote stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's fun. Like, this is going to add a new dimension to the morning show.
Yeah.
Be able to send one of us on a mission sometimes, you know, whether it be maybe BC goes down to the coffee shop and has a coffee, or I'm at a game, or, you know, go on a walk downtown, carry this thing with. It's cool. We have it set up where it's just an iPad, you know, like there's an iPad in front of me on a stand, and I have an earpiece in so I can hear Bennett, and this is how it is. I mean, I'm literally at a table. I got my camera and my tripod sitting right here, ready to go shoot some pictures. Once I'm done here, and it's just, you know, yeah, this is technology's crazy how easy it's made it to do this. Really.
Yeah. It absolutely is. All righty. Well, hey, thanks,
Yeah.
man. Appreciate it, and
Yep.
appreciate what
Yep.
you're doing down there. So.
Yep.
All
Yep.
right.
Thank you. I'll see you guys.
All right. Talk to you soon. All right. Cool. How fun that is, huh? So it's a little quiet here in the studio without Kyle. Doddsy, as you all call him. Yeah. And what's funny is when normally I'm kind of the last one to arrive here for the morning show, because Kyle has a lot more prep to do than I do, and Bennett is here, and so. But normally when I come into the office, the music is blaring and things are cooking, and so it was a little quiet this morning when I came in, and no music is playing. It's just Bennett, and he's working in the control room trying to get things ready, and so anyhow. But that's just kind of how it is. So all right, well, let's take a look at weather. All right, so as you know, CHD Developmental Disabilities is our sponsor for the weather, and we appreciate them. So let's take a look outside. It's beautiful out there. We just saw Kyle down there at Pioneer Park. This is our weather cam that is out on the corner of the turret of the building here, and it's just gorgeous. All right, let's take a look at that graphic, Bennett. So 85 today, 56 tonight, and it looks like it's going to be in the low 80s and 70s clear through the weekend. So it's going to be a beautiful weekend. Very little moisture, which is good and bad. And then looks like it's going to starting to get warm up again, like in the 90s next Monday and Tuesday, the beginning of the week. So that's kind of what our weather looks like there. So we're going to show you, we've been showing you, we have 4 different videos that we've been showing you. We're on the 3rd one. These are videos that we created for CHD Developmental Disabilities and being aware of vulnerable adults. And this one is on mandatory reporting, which kick off that video. I'll explain what that is. Christopher, we're having another CHD conversation about watching out for the abuse of vulnerable folks. Help me understand, what is a mandatory reporter, and why is it important that they are obligated to do what they need to do?
So Oregon state statute identifies certain occupations and relationships with the public as mandatory abuse reporters. Those reporters are required 24/7, 365 days a year to make a report. Those kinds of occupations include folks that work at schools, social workers, doctors, lawyers, law enforcement,
Since it's mandatory, there's probably some disincentive if they don't report.
It's actually a misdemeanor to not report, but you could also be held to civil liabilities depending on the outcomes of what happens to the victims.
And how does somebody report this type of thing?
So there is 2 phone numbers to remember. For those that are under 18 and with a physical disability or over the age of 65, that's 855-503-SAFE, and that's the state line in Salem. Or you can reach me directly at my desk line at 541-962-8889, and that is for folks with intellectual developmental disabilities or who are receiving mental health services.
Thank you, Christopher. We'll be having more of these conversations.
Sounds good.
All right. You know, I was really surprised when I went through this process with CHD and we started talking about this video series that people that are over the age of 65, any senior citizen, they are available for this kind of help too. And the reason this matters for me particularly is I not too long ago I had a family member who is in that age range who was being taken advantage of financially. They were involved in a scheme, a scam, and it was encouraging to me as a family member to know that there were people that I could reach out to and get advice from. There were people that could help, and there are laws in most states that if somebody is taking advantage of somebody over the age of 65, and that can be in a wide range. It doesn't mean that they have to be developmentally, they have to be mentally disabled in some manner. It's just that there are laws that can apply specifically for those people that are taking advantage of elderly adults. And I mean, that can be financially, that can be mental abuse, that can be physical abuse. And then also there's help and counseling to help those kinds of situations. So just, I was surprised by that. And I'm sure that there might be some of you out there that might be unaware of that also. So just know that there's help when we're trying to keep out and keep a lookout for our families and for those people that we're caring for. And man, I can tell you there's just a ton of scams that are going on right now. There are people that in different countries or this country that they spend all day long just waiting to be able to take advantage of somebody. I regularly will get a text message, and I'm sure you do too. I'll get a text message from a stranger that'll say, "Are we meeting for coffee tomorrow?" Well, if you follow that thread very far, you know, I play with those people. I say, "Yeah, I'll meet you at the same place we always do at 9 o'clock." And of course, that's not in their script, and that boggles their mind. But they're looking for an avenue. If you follow that conversation very far, they'll say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I had the wrong person, but my name is so-and-so, and how are you today?" And they're trying to build a relationship, which then often leads to, a connection, and then that connection, you know, these people are they're in the long play. They don't mind taking as much time as it takes to get to know you personally, to make a connection with you emotionally, especially if you are in a vulnerable place, and they want to make a connection with you. And so then eventually, you know, in the case of my family member, I mean, they had their banking information, their routing numbers, they had the ability to take their money. And so anyhow, just be aware that that is out there all the time, especially for those people that might be alone and they're lonely and they're looking for some kind of a connection that they haven't had in a long time. It's rampant right now. And all you got to do is just watch the news. Really sharp people, professionals. I mean, I've seen the stories recently of, you know, professionals their entire life they've had a professional career and now they're retired and they're lonely and they lose thousands and thousands of dollars sometimes to these scams. So anyhow, be aware of that when it comes to watching out for your own family members and also for you. If you feel like you're in a vulnerable place, then there's just be aware of that there are people that want to take advantage of you, and that they will without a moment's, they won't feel bad about it at all. So, all right, we are going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. All right. Hey, thanks for being back. Kind of a short show today, but just have a couple of thoughts that I want to mention to you today. So I have been the LeGrand Rotary president for the last 2 years. Tonight is our banquet, and this is the end of my term. And actually, normally it's just a 1-year term. And somehow in my delusion, I volunteered to do 2 terms. And what a great ride that has been. And just want to tell you all how important it is to be involved in something that's a little bigger than yourself. It is super easy for us to get involved to get overwhelmed with our life, whatever's going on. And you get tunnel vision, and believe me, I'm the same way. My whole life is run by my calendar. What's the very next thing that I've got going on? And so then LeGrand Rotary has just been an opportunity for me to think and care about things that are outside of myself. And I'm fortunate enough to be involved in a number of different organizations that do those types of things, but that happens because, part of it happens because we do media support for a lot of various things, but part of it is because it's intentional. I'm looking for organizations that I care about, looking for people and friends that care about the same things that I care about, and then as a team, we're able to do something that's more significant. We're able to do something that is bigger than us. And a year ago, I guess it's been about 1.5 years ago now, I went to El Salvador, and the LeGrand Rotary is a part of a literacy program that helps rural high school students be able to get to school and so it helps pay for their transportation and their expenses in order to get to school. And we are super fortunate in the United States to not have these issues. But in El Salvador, the junior high, the elementary schools are in most of the locations of the cities. But the high schools are centralized, and there is some distance between some of these rural towns and the high school. Now, when I say rural towns, I'm not saying I suppose they're like LeGrand, but most of them are, bigger metropolitan areas, but they're rural. They're not close to San Salvador, which is the capital of El Salvador. Anyhow, so because of that expense, families tend to often prioritize their boys going to school. And so there are many girls in El Salvador that their education ends at about the 8th grade level. And so we've been really fortunate to plug into an organization who helps us fund, and right now we're funding 20 students a year at about $350 per student. And what that gives that student, somewhere in the area of about $30 a month to pay for their books and their transportation in order to get to school. And the organization that we're a part of, they do the vetting, they bring accountability and track the grades of those students to make sure that they're following through with their commitment. But what an incredible opportunity that it has been to be a part of that. The other thing that is so interesting when I went on that trip is that there's a natural curiosity of, why is this American businessman, talking about myself and the other business people that were with me, why do they have an interest in making their way to El Salvador to talk to us? Now, these students, once a week, they essentially have a club, kind of an activity, almost a youth group event, where they all come together and they do some activities and some games, but they're accountable. It's a moment of accountability for those students to plug in with each other and be accountable for their grades or how the work has gone, how their school's gone, and so on and so forth. And when we went down there, we had an opportunity to go to a couple of these clubs. And that's always, you just see it in their eyes. They're wondering, why are these people, why have they come all the way from America to be here with us? And it validates their work. It validates their existence and what it is that they're doing and the work that they're putting into this. And it makes a lot of difference to them. It really was life-changing for me. And I mean, I've been through a lot of life-changing things, but for my, for the older person that I am now, what a wonderful opportunity it was for me to go and be a part of that. So really appreciate LeGrand Rotary and the people that have been a part of that. This actually is next year, 2026 will be the 100th anniversary of the LeGrand Rotary Club. And so we'll be talking about that, and over the course of the year, the LeGrand Rotary will be celebrating that. And I'm pleased that I'm able to be a part of that group. A lot of those members have been in that club for, 50 years. And they're respected businessmen, and it's just a great opportunity to be with them and to be able to do something that is bigger than all of us. So, yeah, the other one I'm thinking about is a little bit of a rant, okay? And I don't have any comments. If you comment and you're watching, I'd love to know what it is that you're thinking today. The other day, so on the weekend, one of the things that we do is we do AV support for funeral services or celebrations of life. And the other day, we were setting up for a celebration of life at the Riverside Park Pavilion. And somebody pulled up, and I just didn't notice much of them out of the car. But I mean, they pulled up, and at first I thought it was, a park employee or somebody, because I saw them go to the garbage can. Well, come to find out, it was just a citizen. It was somebody, and he pulls his pickup up, and I did not know the person, pulls the pickup up, takes out 2 bags of garbage out of the back of his pickup, and he puts it in the park receptacle. And I try and not be a judgmental person, but I just was appalled that would be somebody's routine. And, you know, we have a dumpster out here that is out in our parking lot that we use. And they've recently had to lock that because an open dumpster is just an opportunity for people to get rid of their junk at somebody else's expense. And I just want to say, you know, I think we can do better than that. I mean, you can cut it a number of different ways, but you're stealing. You're taking advantage of somebody else's expense. And now there are some people that I know, they would say, well, the reason I put it in the park, the reason I put it in the receptacle at the park is because I'm a taxpayer and I'm paying for that park and I'm paying for those receptacles, which is absolutely true. But what would happen if what would happen if everybody did that? What would happen if everybody decided that they were going to have the Parks Department take care of their garbage? I don't know. It's just, it's not very classy. And I guess I just would encourage people to think about those kinds of things. Sometimes we're thoughtless, and certainly I've done that too. You know, don't get me wrong. There are times that I've had something that was too big to fit in my own garbage can. But I also go to a lot of effort to ask. I find the person who owns that and like, hey, it looks like the garbage can is empty, or you've got room. Can I put this old bicycle? That's not what I threw away, but can I put this, whatever it is, in there? And it just doesn't take too much to be diligent about those types of things. And it's what makes us better people. For me, it helps me sleep at night. So anyhow, just a little bit of a rant. I don't know if anybody else feels that same way as I do. The thing that I have to keep pushing back against, which is a very common thread, is feeling entitled. Feeling like I have paid my dues, like I deserve this, I am owed this. And as I get older, there's more and more temptation to feel that way. And I'm not sure that entitlement is ever a good thing. It doesn't matter if it's deserved or not, you know. So anyhow, those are the things personally that I push against. I don't want to be that person that has this entitlement attitude and then I'm angry because somebody doesn't recognize who it is that I am, and they should be willing to just give me that regardless. Anyhow, a little bit of a rant. Love to know your thoughts, and if you have some pushback against that, I welcome that. I think that's it for today. We're going to be right back here again on Thursday. At this point, the plan is Kyle. Oh, what's that again? Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you, Bennett. Want to be sure and mention Buffalo Peak. Buffalo Peak's, we are having Thunder at the Peak on the 4th of July, and be sure and be a part of that. We are one of their main sponsors for that particular event. They're going to be, the activities in the past have gone out throughout the day. This year they're starting at around 5 o'clock. So at 5 o'clock up at the golf course, they're going to have a cornhole tournament that begins at 5 o'clock. And then from 6 to 9 p.m., they're going to have the food vendors in downtown Union. And then, of course, at dusk will be the fireworks display, Thunder at the Peak. So be sure and be aware of that. Keep in mind, and if you've not been at that location before, you can sit up on the hill or sit up on any place where you want. And if you've been out to Buffalo Peak, the hills are beautiful, and there's a great location. If you want to just take your chair and go find a place to sit with your family, you can be as private or sit with a group of people, whatever you'd like. Anyhow, great event. Be sure and keep that in mind. All right, that's all for today. We'll see you right back here Thursday. We'll have another remote report for Kyle on Thursday, and we'll talk to you soon.